Good morning. Okay, what I want to do is demonstrate how we are going to get our paints all ready for our tonal scale practice. And I'm going to demonstrate how we're going to make our tints. Okay, so what we want to do with this is always, with acrylic paint, we always want to work from light to dark with our paint. And so the way that we're going to do that is we're going to take our palette, and in each well, we're going to have 9 scales. So in each well, we're going to put the same amount of white paint. We don't need too much. The scale that we're making, they're not too big. You can share your palette, obviously, with people in your group. And so we're going to fill up those wells there. And, well, not fill up, sorry, we're just going to put a little bit in. All right, and notice how I don't have too much left on that knife. I'm going to scrape it on the edge of this container, just so that we don't waste any. And make sure our knife goes back on the lid and back on the cart. So then we need the color that we're going to mix with. We're using magenta simply because I have a lot of magenta, and we might not be using too much of it for our project. So I'm going to put some magenta in the middle. I can always grab more, so you don't need too much. Okay. All right. So now I've got my palette ready to start making my tonal scale on the actual palette first. And so we're going to start with the lightest one first. And I'm just going to grab the tiniest little bit on the end of my palette knife, and I'm going to mix it right in the well. I'm not using my brush because I don't want the paint to get stuck in the ferrule or that metal part and wreck my paintbrush. So that's my first one. I'm going to wipe that off a little bit. And just so that I don't mix too much into that middle, I'm just going to wipe the end of that palette knife off on a piece of paper towel. And then I want to take just a little bit more than I originally took there and mix it here so that my color looks just a little bit darker. Looks pretty good. And again, I'm going to wipe my palette knife off again. And then in my next well, I'm going to grab just a little bit more to make that darker yet again. Now I'm noticing as I'm mixing this, I might be a little too close in terms of the tone there. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more magenta and darken it up. There we go. Now I can see the subtle variation between those three. And then yet again, gonna grab my magenta from the middle. And as soon as I can see that there is a change in the value there, I'm going to move to the next one. I need even a little bit more. with my magenta. All right, so I'm going to keep on going. Obviously, I'm going to do that for all 9. Once I've finished with this palette, once it's all ready and I have all 9 tones, tints, sorry, I'm going to grab my sheet and my paintbrush. And again, I'm going to start from the lightest tint. So in this box, this is actually going to be pure white. So all I want to do is take my acrylic paint, I don't mix it with water, I put it on the end of my brush. It doesn't have to go all the way up to this metal part. And I'm just going to fill in that box. And I'm going to try and be pretty accurate with it. I might make sure that all the brush strokes in the end kind of go from one end or one side to the other. Now with my paintbrush, to go to the next well without mixing it, I can use a piece of paper towel, or there are rags in your kit as well that you can use, okay? So then I'm going to go to the next one. Again, my paint is only on the end of my brush, and I want to try and control my brushwork as best as I can. The nice thing about acrylic is that you can see your brush strokes unless you water it down and make it more opaque.
Okay. I should have said transparent.
So again, I'm going to take my paper towel or my rag and I'm just going to wipe off the end a little bit. Because I'm going from light to dark, I can do that. And notice that I'm holding the paintbrush with my thumb on the top, and I'm not holding it like a pencil. I'm trying to be refined. I'm more so holding it on its side. Now once we're done with our paintbrushes, we do want to wipe off as much as we can with a paper towel or a rag so that it doesn't go down the sink. And then until the end of class, what you can do is give it a little swish in the water because we do not want that to dry at all. And if we're not finished with it, if we know we're still going to be needing it, you can lie it down on a piece of paper towel or on newspaper. As long as this never dries, that's okay. At the end of class, one person from each group is going to wash everybody's brush just so that, well, simply because we have one sink. All right, have fun.